What's up, Movie Lounge? I'm your host, Stephen Lawson, and today we're going to talk about two things. One is CGI, and the other is Transformers: The Last Night, and we'll talk a little bit about that movie. But I want to say it's been a busy couple of weeks. I was out of town. My wife celebrated my birthday, did a little surprise thing, and then a little family emergency, people getting sick and stuff. So it kind of pushed me from doing the show just because I was taking care of my wife and just doing all that kind of stuff. So I'm back. If you want, you can comment. We can get into discussions. So it's going to be fun. Let's get into it. So we're going to talk about CGI and how the benefits of actually doing that can be helpful. And then there are some movies that are it's not as helpful as you think. And it can show, and I'm going to talk about it and give some ideas. I'm not into deep into CGI stuff. I don't know it very well because I don't do animation. I don't do all that kind of stuff. But I can kind of give an idea of how it should go and stuff. So these are my opinion based. For now on, I'm going to mention these are my opinion based, so I don't get the show banned from YouTube. So let's dig into it. So CGI can be very, very helpful in the sense of helping the story grow. For example, there is a movie called Stalingrad, and it is all subtitles. If you want, go check. I would recommend checking it out, actually. Check it out. It's all subtitles. I think there's a few people that speak English, but it's all mostly Russian and German. It's about the war in Stalingrad, and it is visually mind-blowing how well they use CGI to make it look real. That is probably the best example next to Planet of the Apes with Andy Serkis playing Caesar. Those are good CGI, the ones that are just grand and really good. And I know Mad Max Fury Road used some CGI that was really good. And those are people who use CGI to help the story. Now, there are some that are just way off, and you can tell because usually when you see CGI or anything, they use a green screen or blue screen. And you'll see around here, you'll see a different color. That means they didn't do it right. They just whatever, we'll just do it. And you can kind of tell, it kind of takes it away. Like, for example, when I saw Wonder Woman, I'll get into a review on that next episode after this, there are some shots in the movie that with the CGI, it didn't fit very well. It was it's just over. They just put it all on CGI, and it's just an overkill. And you can notice that, and I felt like that took away from it. Still a wonderful movie, but I felt like the CGI, when they got near the end, it was whatever. And another example with what's the other one? I would say Batman v Superman was very heavy. If you do a movie and it's very heavy with CGI, it can kind of take it away. I felt when I saw Batman v Superman, the visual effects were really good, but the CGI, some of it was just too much. If you go too much, you're gonna lose the audience. And I feel like if you have a movie, especially sci-fi or any of that, if you have a movie and you're okay, I can't do this with practical effects, CGI. So plan it out. That's another thing. Just plan out your movies, your whole scheduling, and try to go as practical effects as possible. I'm a person who loves visual effects and CGI, but I'm also an advocate for practical effects. And prime example, Star Wars: The Force Awakens was a lot of practical effects, but they only use CGI when they need to. And I think that's the mindset that we have to go into. All right, how much can we use in practical effects? Can we do here? But then we can do it all in post later. And I think if you have that mindset, you're going to have a much more balanced way of doing it. Now, granted, there are movies that are just very much we need all visual effects and CGI and all that stuff. Like Avatar. Avatar is probably another good example of the CGI and the visual effects doing it right, even though I don't like the story because it's boring, but visually it's cool because they did it right. They said, okay, this movie's only meant to do it all on computer, and that's what we're going to go for. And that's why it takes so long, because they took time with it. And I think that's another great example. I think if you're like Neil Blomkamp, does a really good job at trying to use CGI into his live shots, and he does a very good job. Like District 9 is a very good example. And I know the other, and I can't think of it, he just came out with a short. He's doing like, I think 4 or 7 different short films. Check his stuff out. He's very good at what he does because his background is visual effects. Like he has a degree in visual effects and he knows how to do those things. So again, this is all my opinion based, and I'm not an expert in the whole computer graphics side of it. I'm more on to the practical effects and like editing and all that stuff. So I know all that stuff more, but just from experience and seeing how it's all done, you have to have a balance of what you can do and how it's going to do. Like if you're going to do a visual effects shot, how is this going to look? Is it going to look real enough to where people aren't going to notice it as much? And I think that's the prime example. Like how much can we use the visual effects to save the movie, and how much can we use more of practical effects to balance it out? I think it's kind of a balance of back and forth. So that is my whole spiel of visual effects and CGI and all that fun stuff. I love it. I'm crazy for it. If you want to do some crazy visual effects, do it, but do it the right way. I think we've caught on really well, like how we see things. And so if you make a movie and the audience can tell right away, it kind of takes it away. So that's that topic. And so tonight I'm going to see Transformers The Last Night, and it's a movie I'm not as interested in seeing, but I'm giving it hope. Maybe it might be good. And this is a very small little snippet. We're talking tomorrow. I'm going to have a review of it, hopefully. If not, then Thursday I will. But I think the reason why I'm so into Transformers is because I grew up on it, and it's visually interesting. I think with the whole visuals of it, I want to get into it. I want to give it hope. I want it to succeed. I think it's going to do really well overseas. I don't think it's going to do that well domestically. And also, I think that Michael Bay should just step away. I think he said that he's stepping away for sure after this one. I just think it's a giant mess that needs to be fixed. So yeah, so that is the show I'm going to do. I'm going to do another live show in a little bit of Wonder Woman. I wanted to take a little piece out and talk a little bit about CGI, talk a little bit about Transformers tonight, and I'm going to talk about Wonder Woman in the next episode. And that will be my review of it. So it should be good. If you want, you can stay tuned for that in a little bit. I'll see you guys.